Hey, guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Duna Wengombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, is the headman of cattle, Mitchell Mutumba Simata. So, today I had a little flashback, man. I remembered, oh, this is sitting terrible. I remember that one time, hey, where I was invited to an Agri for Youth Summit. So, that Agri for Youth Summit, we were talking about young people involved in agriculture. And then we had a lady, I think she was from Malawi, and she said she was the billionaire in Malawi or something like that. She was one of the wealthy people who were involved in agriculture and all of these things. And so everybody was giving opinions. Yes, young people must stop being job seekers and be job creators. Agriculture can really do this and actually minimize Namibians looking for jobs, young Namibians looking for jobs, and actually young Namibians becoming job creators. And we need more people to study agriculture. We need more vocational services to offer agriculture. People need to learn agriculture at school, etc., etc. And then it came to my turn. So sitting there, bruh, like those church pastors, with your hands like this. My hands were like this. Sitting, I was like this. Waiting my turn, I was just sitting like this. And then it came. Mitchell, what do you think more young people should be involved in agriculture? So I was like, hey, you see, colleagues, let us start being honest first and foremostly. How many young people actually want to be involved in agriculture? Who is going to buy the go of GTI if all of us young people are involved in agriculture? Who's going to disturb people's relationships? Who is going to go buy Jameson Select Reserve over the weekends? What I'm trying to say here is not every young person wants to be involved in agriculture. Other people have different aspirations. Some people probably want to become lawyers, engineers, accountants, or probably be pilots. Some want to open up a club. Why are we trying to force the entire youth populace of Namibia into farming? I don't think it's fair. I think it's an unjust observation that we're doing. What is going to happen is we're going to have a similar case in agriculture like what we had when every person was told to apply for tenders. And look what we have today. Where are all those people who were eating tenders in Namibia, building mass housing, roads, whatever? Most of these companies have shut down because people were forced and told that the tender, you're going to make 1 million. So what I think needs to happen is, besides just encouraging Namibian youth into the agricultural sector, open up the other economic sectors of this country so more Namibian youth are involved. Mining, fishing, forestry, electricity generation. Why are we trying to push the entire population of Namibia into agriculture? I know, and I even said it, I know friends who have obtained papers in agriculture and are sitting at home because agriculture is not as simple as it's made out to seem in magazines or in newspapers or in television shows. The reality is it's hard work and it requires money. I gave an example where I said, similar to a person deciding to become an entrepreneur today and starting up his own business. Before this person can even start producing whatever he's producing, whether it's cupcakes or cake or he's making fat cakes, he needs the raw ingredients to be able to start. A person cannot just get up today and be like, no, I'm going to plant, what is this? I'm going to plant trees without having seeds. A person cannot just start up and be like, I'm going to plant 1 hectare of maize land if I do not have the equipment to do the work. It's like I said, a person cannot decide that he or she is going to get into the baking business if you do not have an oven, you do not have a good reliable oven, you don't have your raw ingredients such as eggs, what is the other one? Flour, milk, butter, sugar, and the various things you're going to need to actually produce a beautiful cake. So it's the same thing with agriculture. Why is it? And then I turned to the moderator. I said, why is it that we never really speak of the money aspect of agriculture? It's expensive. I know this. And then they cut me short. And then they were like, but what about if people go farm in the villages? Then I said, look, we know Namibia is a two-system country. We have two systems. We have the northern communal areas, which are on the other side of the veterinary corridor, which means those farmers that do not get opportunities to market their animals similar to farmers on the southern side of the veterinary corridor. Farmers in Grootfontein or Tavi can take their animals from Grootfontein or Tavi to wherever they want to, countrywide. They can go sell their animals wherever they want to. Farmers in the northern block are either just allowed to sell within their region or they are either just allowed to sell within the neighboring region. They cannot bring their animals to this side. So these are things that people have to take into consideration. And then one person was like, yeah, but Mr. Simata, one got up and said, but Mr. Simata, I sold communal, I sold some land to people for about 2,000, I mean, was it 2 or 6,000 Namibian? And then I told them, you're not, by the law of Namibia, the letter of the law, you are not allowed to sell communal land. It is wrong. You can go ask the police, you can go ask the police or any person in the legal department, you can get arrested. You're not allowed to sell it because you don't have ownership papers for it. If at least if you had a title deed, like let's say a house in Windhoek here, if you're trying to sell a home, you can sell it because you have the title deed, you have proof of ownership. But a land in the communal area, how do I, the person who buys the land, come and prove that you sold the land to me? You see? So those are the things that I was putting. One person was like, that guy is very negative. I was like, I'm not negative, colleagues. I have been in the sector and I'm not going to come beat my chest and say that I made it. No, I didn't make it. I was lucky in the sector because I had partnered with my father, and so it made it a bit easier for me. But for those people who are not in the same situation like me, like I said in my last video where I said, where the guy was busy talking about, don't go into agriculture, don't study agriculture if you do not have land, I mean, if you don't have a farm, because it's going to be very difficult. Not every person has a father or a mother who's from getting from a well-paying job. You're going to struggle. I know this. I know this for the fact. I'm normal with my dad. I've been applying for resettlement land since 2010. It's been 13 years till date. I haven't gotten a farm. 13 years that I've been applying. I don't have my father's financial muscle, so I have to try on my own. It's difficult. I was talking to an uncle of mine who called me, and I was like, you know what, uncle? I'm actually considering just stepping away from the farming thing and just maybe. He was like, okay, continue doing the YouTube and continue advising people. I said, I'll do that. But I think I must probably take a step back. It's probably God telling me that it's enough now. You've tried, you've been applying for 13 years. I just got some new application forms for the resettlement farms to see if I can get it. You've been trying that, you've been trying to buy land, and you've got to know, um, you've tried to light so many cigarettes, but none of them actually catch fire so you can get a good smoke. So why are you even doing it? I sometimes ask myself that, man. I do ask myself that. Some days where I just feel like, I'm done. There are even some days where I look at my YouTube channel, Nduna Ngombe, and my company, actually, funny enough, Nduna Ngombe is actually just part of my agricultural company, which is known as Mutumba Trading. Nduna Ngombe just falls there. And I sometimes sit there and I go like, some days I'm done. I'm tired. I'm not getting anything from my company. I registered my business in 2015. I think 2015, 2012. Thus far, I have not obtained any penny from both my YouTube channel and my agribusiness. As I mentioned here a number of times that I'm trying to get into the feed making business. That is costing me, that is giving me a headache. So when people come and ask me, why am I telling young people to look for work and not become job seekers? Because I believe entrepreneurship is the future. Namibians need to become active in the economical market in terms of not just being workers, not just being the guy driving the truck, not just being the guy underneath the ground digging the mine. We need to be owners of these things. But I also understand, I'm also very cognizant to the situation of saying not everybody has 100 million or 3 million, or nobody, or not everybody has good credit that he or she can approach a bank and be like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a farm or I understand a mine. I know this. Not everybody can walk to a bank or go to the state-owned banks and tell them, look, I need a loan, because you might not have the political muscle again, or the political will, or the political connections to actually get things going. I was talking to my friend of mine who was busy telling me that he sold some animals to an abattoir back in the Zambezi region where I'm from, which is the Caprivi back then. This would be the Zambezi region if you look at the Namibian map. So he sold animals, about 4 or 5 of them, and the truck took such a long time to actually come and collect the animals. Imagine they had to wait. He said he waited from 9 to like 2 o'clock. Imagine having to wait that long for the abattoir truck to come and pick your animals up. And he was like, you know what? If there was a private person who had a truck, it would have made life easier for him, because he could have just hired it. The person could have loaded for him and driven the animals to the quarantine crawls where they keep the animals before they slaughter them. So I was like, yeah, no, it's a good idea. I'd love to do that. My company could. Actually, my company has a division for that. But imali paper, as they said in that song, Zaga, Zaga, where he said imali paper. My mother tongue, we say ishereng, money, mali. It's a problem. So hey man, I don't want to be sitting here complaining about money, 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 money in agriculture, but it's unfortunate we overlook it. And I said that as much as we want to tell young men and women that go study agriculture that they must be job creators, what is the incentive we've put there for them? Have we planted a seed for them? Have we planted a seed for them to be able to come back from wherever they've studied, University of Australia, wherever, South Africa, Namibia, wherever they've gone, even China, that they come back and they can plow these skills they've learned back into the Namibian agricultural sector. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I was reading an article this past week where Namibians were celebrating Namibian grapes being sold in Europe. My question was, okay, they're Namibian. Yes, they come from the Namibian soil and the Namibian environment and weather. Maybe they're coming out of Namibian hands because we are the people hired to pick them. But who are the people behind this operation? Are we sure it's Namibians? What if it's foreign? That's the problem. Even right now, our green schemes have collapsed. They've collapsed. All our green schemes have collapsed. The government is actually trying to get foreign investors to come and run these green schemes rather than saying we have put aside 35 or that's 65 million or even 35 billion we've put aside to take some of these graduates where they go study agriculture, the various forms, particularly those ones who specialize in horticulture, and give them at least each 25, 25, 25 hectares. Let them farm and run and manage these green schemes. What is so difficult? So if we do that, these young people don't need to be job seekers, but are given that portion and go farm it, and from the little money they make from there, they can hire people. But to make it seem as if no, we're just gonna give these kids land and then from then they'll make money, we're lying to ourselves. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. I made a comparison where I was saying, I look at my auntie, for example, Miss Agnes Limbo, and my father, Mr. Stanley Simata. I look at them and I compare them to me. I always say this. They have money, so they are able to outsource their farming. In terms of if my father has an emergency and he has to travel wherever he has to go, he can leave his workers in charge to make sure that the plowing, the cleaning of the fields, and then the eventual harvesting of the maize can happen in one go. Same thing with my auntie May Agnes. With me, if I don't have that capital, it means that even if I am required to go somewhere I can't go, if I go, the planting, the weeding, and the harvesting of my maize will not happen. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I come from by saying that yes, as much as any other young Namibian person, I'm 31. I'm 31. I believe that the youth, our parents worked. They did the 9 to 5. They worked for government. They worked for companies. Our generation should be the generation that owns things, that have our names on buildings. Imagine if I could have a name named after a building named after myself or named after my dad or my mom. That's something we should work towards. But we always have to be cognizant of this. If this is a problem to come by, it's difficult to run business. I know many young people who set up various businesses. I know people who were in the agricultural sector, got a loan, got into the farming industry, bought some livestock. All those animals died from an illness, and those people went bust. So as much as I do agree that we must young people who go study agriculture or study whatever should go from being job seekers to job creators. But we must put something there. We must put money for them and we must put a safety net. So if these people fail, there's a safety net that will catch them and will help them. Because if we're going to leave them to their own devices, as much as they have the practical skills and got the papers for it, they might come and struggle. Because one thing I've realized, or one thing one senior farmer always used to tell me was, it doesn't mean because you obtained a degree or a PhD or whatever you obtained in or diploma in agriculture, it doesn't mean that you can farm. Usually, that guys with the practical skills are the top farmers. Most of the farmers that I know that are quite successful are either lawyers. One is a retired lawyer. Another one is a retired teacher. Another one I know is a retired doctor. Another one is a dentist. These are top farmers. Most of them probably had agriculture at grade R or grade no, man, at grade school level. But when they went to university, they didn't study agriculture, they studied something else. But these are top farmers today. So yeah, that's what I have to say on a serious note because somebody came through the comment section and mentioned that and like, yo, Mitchell, why should these kids who obtain these various qualifications come and look for jobs? Why aren't they job creators? And I had to sit down and look at it and be like, yeah, they can, but we need to plant a seed for these young people when they know that they're coming back from China, Australia, wherever they're coming from, where they study agriculture, there's land available for them. There's money available for them to get into agriculture, to buy the equipment and implements. And there's money put aside for them to be able to hire a competent workforce. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say bye for now.